Vertical Road was inspired by an experience that I had in Australia. So I was performing at the Sydney Opera House. On the fourth day of performances, I decided to take a taxi to the hotel, even though I could see the hotel so close. I opened the door after the show, and this couple got inside the taxi as if I opened the door for them. And then they shut the door and left. The next taxi arrived. I was a bit cheesed off, anyway. So I opened the door, and it was the first time I wanted to call my father. I don't have a phone relationship with my father, so I didn't know what to say, but I needed to hear his voice. It was the first time ever. And I spoke to him for a little bit and then put the phone down. The taxi driver asked me, "Is your father's name Choreographer Khan?" And I was like, thinking back, I'd never mentioned my father's name. How does he know this? He asked me in Bengali, so obviously I'm assuming he's Bengali. And I said, "How do you know this?" He goes, "Can you just answer me one more question?" I said, "Fine. Is your father from Algichor?" That's very specific, because it's a small village. I'm guessing there's 200 people who know that. 195 of those people, I presume, still live in that village. The other 5 are my mother, my father, my sister, myself, and I'm assuming this taxi driver. So I'm freaked out because I'm going, why would CIA? Why? That's specific information, right? I'm paranoid right now. So I said, "Stop the car, let me out. I don't know who you are." So he was pleading with me and he wouldn't stop the car, and I said, "Stop the car." He stopped the car. And I opened the door and I left. But I didn't close the door. I could hear him cry. And I thought, I need to know. I need to know who this person is and how they know that specific information. So I got back into the taxi and said, "You tell me." He said, "I've been looking for your father for 35 years. He was my childhood friend. We grew up together. Your father had big dreams. He wanted to go abroad and make a life. And eventually, they lost contact because he still lived in the village." When he told me this, I called my father back and he said, "What do you want? Why do you keep waking me up?" I said, "Abba, listen, you need to hear this man." He said, "Which man?" I said, hold on. "How does my father know you?" And he paused and the taxi driver said, "Billu Bhai." Bhai means brother. Billu is the nickname that my father gave him. Nobody else gave him that. And it was the first time I heard my father cry. The following year, I invited the taxi driver, his wife, and my parents to come back to the Opera House in Sydney. I stopped the show in the middle and I told the story. And they were sitting together. After the show, a couple came up to me and they asked me, "Do you know who that first couple were?" And I said, "They were rude. I'm assuming they were at my show." And they said, "Yeah, but maybe they were your angels. Because if they hadn't got in the first taxi, you would never have got in the second." Anyway, I couldn't make sense of the possibility or probability of why, out of all the places in the world, that I suddenly at that moment in the second taxi I needed to call my father, and here is... Anyway, to cut a long story short, we are a civilization now that only believes in things we can see. What's powerful about dance and what triggered me to work on Vertical Road was to capture things that so the audience can experience something that they cannot see but feel.